Thank you, Duncan. So it's up to me to try to round up with a look ahead and how we're going to do in 2019 and beyond. It's interesting because, from the beginning of the year, already at the end of last year, but certainly beginning of this year, we've done quite a lot of conferences. And we're always asked, do you see shakiness in your industries and your customers? And the answer is no, we don't. And why is that? Our three key industries are oil and gas, chemicals and petrochem, and energy and utilities. They make up, as you recall, 80% of our revenue. All of these are right now very robust. They're long cycles, they're late cycles. So if something were to materialize, we would get plenty of warning, and then of course we would have to adapt and adjust. That's not the case. And if we go very briefly through our four regions, you recall that Northwest Europe on the bottom, this is mainly the activity around the North Sea. So UK on one side, Norway, Scandinavia on the other, and then Holland in the south. The northern part, continental Europe, is therefore mainly about downstream oil and gas. And here we see people investing in maintenance and field life extensions. So investments are sunk and assets are run for cash flow. We see upgrades along the European gas network, and the gas network, you follow it the same way everyone else does, is in some cases aging, in some cases being expanded. So Nord Stream comes into Lubmin, it has to go on to the rest of Germany. LNG plants are being talked about not in terms of liquefying the gas, but in regassing the liquid. So we expect in this year and next year there'll be an announcement to one of the three locations, and then again gas infrastructure comes into play to bring that imported gas into the structure. So we think oil and gas, continental Europe is mainly around infrastructure, and we're well positioned, and you saw, I think, the Fluxys project as evidence of that. In chemicals and petrochemicals, our customers are doing well. I would say ammonium fertilizer is the weak area, but all other chemicals, specialty chemicals, base chemicals, these are good business lines, and the customers are continuing to put money into their plants to drive performance and productivity. There's not so much expansion, at least in continental Europe as we know it, but people are investing their money and driving performance. Energy and utilities, Germany is interesting. You read about the coal-fired power stations that will be turned off. They produce not only electricity or energy, but also they produce hot water. So the combined heating, as it's called, then leaves consumers without a source for hot water. That's where district heating comes in. And these are projects that are well within the scope of Bilfinger, within the BET organization that we mentioned. And we're actually executing a project in Mannheim where we do exactly that. We replace the warm water from the coal-fired power station that's being shut down with a separate generation process that then delivers heating to the homes around Mannheim. I think on the far right, pharma and biopharma, I've talked a lot about. This is a good business. We're taking it to China. We're opening our office in Guangzhou to support business there. And I think you will also have read our first move into Russia, where we've sold quite a large skid towards building a new biopharma plant in Russia itself. Northwest Europe, so North Sea, this is the oil and gas part of Bilfinger. And again, we're asked often, because the people see a very strong correlation of our share price to the oil price, how much of your business is actually true oil and gas related? And it's around 15% on the upstream side, maybe another 5% downstream. So we're at 20, maybe a little bit more depending on the seasonality and on the cycles. But here definitely it's our upstream business. The North Sea is good. Customers are making money. Last year, oil and gas customers typically budgeted for an oil price of around $45 to $50. That's the same this year. These customers are not changing their plans when the price of oil moves from 65 to 55 and back to 60. They just record a high windfall profit, and I think you saw that in the numbers from Shell and BP just a few days ago. Chemicals and petrochemicals, or the downstream business, is also prevalent in Northwest Europe. This is the metropole, if you like, the chemical metropole between Antwerp and Rotterdam. That is actually the third largest chemical complex in the world. Number 1 is in China, number 2 is in Houston, number 3 is in Antwerp, Rotterdam. And you will have read that INEOS is investing there in beginning 2019, a $3 billion investment to build out a new facility there. So there are things happening even in mature markets. Hinkley Point, Duncan touched on it. I won't dwell on that. We're there. We're working there. So our people are inside the customer's organization. We're working on our project on an hourly basis, which is very nice because that's guaranteed profits. But as we go forward, we will sign the larger contract. It's going to be 250 million. It was supposed to be last year. The customer changed some structures. They asked us to be patient. They gave us a time and material contract, and somewhere this year